talks that are touted to be consensus building in nature will certainly raise eyebrows tonight. And joining us now is Nyeritan MP Ngunjiri Wambugu, who is in Naivasha for these talks. And good evening to you, Mheshimiwa. I hope you can hear me. Later on, we'll be speaking to Mule Musau, of course, of ILOG, who is an election expert. But first, let's focus on the politics. So going into this meeting, Ngunjiri, as you well know, there's been controversy of all sorts already brewing amid claims that those who are allied to the deputy president were not invited. Why, first of all, are they there at all? And if not, why not?
Thank you very much, Anne. The invitation that was done to Naivasha and the communication that came out to us was that we were going to have two sets of groups because of COVID, because of this social distancing. So since we are looking at inviting close to 440, 450 members of Parliament and Senate, I understand it was decided that we are going to be invited in two groups. And maybe a decision was made that you're going to invite people based on how their political affiliations are. So because a lot of the people who are here actually are people who are what you'd call pro-Uhuru, who support the BBI. Maybe because I know there's another meeting here that's going to be here next week. So I don't think anybody should be complaining. I just think it's been a matter of how people have been invited. It's going to be in two groups. Even those who are complaining know it's in two groups. Maybe it's just that thing of wanting to be in the first group and assuming that because you're not in the first group, there's something wrong. I don't think that was the case. I think it was just a matter of how it was structured and ensuring that you're having a conversation with like-minded people so that you're able to, because you're meeting with experts, they're talking to us, taking us through the BBI report, taking us through the scenarios, taking us through the background of what led to each of these situations where we get to ask questions, and I think it's a good thing if the people who are talking from similar positions, so that you're able to challenge the experts from a common position. You get clarity without anybody trying to confuse issues for the sake of it, and I think that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. So nobody has been stopped from coming to Naivasha. It's just that the meetings have been arranged in two groups.
All right, but you talk about socially distancing. It looks like you just want to socially distance from Tanga, really, and that it is structured so that you do not hear divergent views. How do you respond to such concerns?
I think it's a very bad assumption to imagine that when you get 200 or 100 members of parliament in a room, you're not going to get divergent views. Remember, all of us represent different constituencies. We all have concerns. We have issues about multiple member constituencies, for example, that are going to go to different places. We have ladies here who have an issue about the affirmative action issue. So I don't think it is possible for us to have a common, in terms of saying that we don't have divergent views. Even here we have divergent views. We have people who are asking questions based on trying to understand. We had this position, why wasn't it taken into consideration? We have Senate members here who have questions about Senate. So we do actually have divergent views here, even as we speak.
All right. So tell us a little bit more about day one. We understand President Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga are already on site. Have they addressed you at all? What, if at all, has been the nature of conversations on this first day? Is it understanding the document, or have people already gone ahead to identify issues where much more deliberation needs to take place?
I think the most important thing at this time, and for us, since we came in this afternoon, we started the sessions in the afternoon, was first to understand the document. And it was important not just to understand the document, but to understand the concept. We have experts, we have members or people who are part of the process from the beginning. Remember, and this is a process that has gone on for 2 years. It had a point where last year there was a launch of what had gone on till then. Then there was a validation of some of the issues that have been raised. Now we are also looking at situations that are going to come into Parliament. We've got proposed bills in terms of implementing some of these issues. We have issues we expect are going to go into a referendum. So a lot of today was taken up by discussions on the content of the report, understanding, getting clarity on some issues that are not very, very clear. I mean, this report came out a couple of days ago. So yes, a lot of us have had a chance to read it, but reading it and understanding it are two different things. So we had quite a number. We had several professors in the house. We had people who had been involved. The gentleman who presented, Tom Asheria, was here with us to just take us through some of the issues that we are not very clear about what it means. We have legal experts explaining to us. We have lawyers among members of parliament who are just trying to brainstorm what does this mean. And then of course us, because we are political leaders, we also have to look at the political effect and impact of some of the things that are being proposed, and then also just look at the easiest way and the most convenient way of taking these proposals forward to their logical conclusion.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's a lot of what has been happening today. The principals are going to be talking to us at a later point because we needed to first understand the document so that we can also have a roundtable discussion with them about what's the way forward from here.
Yeah, you've said something that this is a process that has been on for 2 years, and a narrative is building around the fact that we have been talking about this for 2 years, and it is one that seems to, at the end of the day, suggest that this document is no longer open to any significant edits, amendments, or changes because of that very fact that you've been talking for 2 years. What's your take on that view, which remains divided? We've heard at least ODM legislators say just because the Deputy President is ready to talk now and build consensus now doesn't mean this process will stop for him. Should it stop for Tanga, or at least should it accommodate them in terms of that consensus building? Or are we looking at a final draft and the only purpose of meetings like this is to understand what is final?
Actually, and we're looking at a final draft. I think I also associate myself with those who believe that because the Deputy President seems to now, you see, he has spent 2 years fighting a document he did not understand. And it was actually quite eye-opening for a lot of us when the President told us that he was actually part of the process, that he was involved, that he had members, he had people he had recommended to be on the panel that was working on this document. Because if you listen to him when he was outside, you would assume he had no clue what was happening. And now that the report is out, now that because he did everything he could to stop this report from getting to where it got to. Now that the report is out and he seems to see and to understand that we are now at the point where we are now moving to execute it, he now comes up with a suggestion that no. Before you execute, I need you to look at this, I need you to look at this. And we're like, look, where have you been for the last 2 years? Yes, we do respect you as a Deputy President. Yes, you have a right to be heard, but really you can't hold the entire country back. Because all of a sudden now you have discovered that you have a few things that you might have wanted to be in the document, but for some reason, for 2 years, you actually never got a chance to go and present them, or even to call the board, and you'd have actually come and you talk to them and you make your presentations and you'd be saying, I presented this, you didn't listen to me. So we see, in my opinion, what the Deputy President is doing is actually not in good faith. He seems to be just trying to stall the process. He's been very clear that this is not a process he supports. He's argued about it in every avenue, from money, from positions for a few people. He has used everything he can to throw at the BBI. So, of course, you will understand when a lot of us don't take the suggestions that he's making and the proposals for us to listen to him in good faith. As far as I am concerned personally as Ngunjiri Wambugu, I think he's just looking for a way to stall the process. And unfortunately, the country must go on. I mean, this process is much bigger than his ambitions, than him as an individual. So I do not expect that this document is going to be opened up. I suspect that a lot of what is going to happen in the coming days is now a process of discussion, of implementation, a discussion of what kind of bills are going to come in. And, and let's be honest, and this document has not been passed. He has the opportunity to go out there and convince Kenyans not to pass it. And that is his right. And it's important. I know a lot of people, a lot of us would prefer a non-contested referendum, but it's okay even if it is contested, because part of the contestation also allows us to have a robust conversation about exactly what it is that we are bringing to the table. If it is not contested, then you're going to just push something across without people actually getting to understand. So personally, I'm happy with it being contested. I'm happy with a robust conversation about it. I'm happy with a yes and no position, because this is a democracy. We have the right not to agree, even if it is something that is proposed by the government. All
right. Ngunjiri, on that note, I want to bring in our second guest. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. Mule Musau, he's an election expert with ELOG, because you're talking about taking this document to a contest that should be refereed by an electoral body, which this document itself has recommended should be ousted. And so, Mule, let me start with you, because even before we get to, a proper referendum bill or anything like that, we're already beginning to see fracas around the issue of the referendum and its cost. IEBC is fighting back. They have said that they are the final authority on matters of the cost of this election. What do you think of the way in which the issue of the electoral body and the role it should play in a referendum and out of the consequence of a referendum is shaping up with this very early, blows?
Well, first let me say thank you, Anne, for having me. And I like something that Wambugu said in terms of they are in Naivasha to be able to have a conversation. about and getting a greater understanding of that document. So that's a good place to start for everybody, that we are all trying to understand these proposals which have been given by the BBI proponents. And then my hope, therefore, is that by the time this is processed into a level where it becomes a formal document, which is either going to Parliament, there's a level of understanding and an independent understanding of the issues which are being canvassed in terms of the proposals about amending issues around elections and other areas that the BBI has looked into. As far as the electoral body is concerned, of course, there's going to be a lot of discussions around this because it's a very hot area. We have what we call an independent model of a commission that is supposed to be operating outside political interferences. BBI has proposed some very interesting things. One is that they are proposing that in terms of the commissioners, they need to be appointed by political parties. Some of them need to be appointed by political parties. That is, of course, an issue which is contentious because some of us have given feedback. We made our contributions to the BBI task force, and one of the things that we were saying that on the premise of the independence of a commission, not just, let's not talk about this as the commission, but any election commission which is independent, you want, the principle of independence dictates that we try as much as possible to allow them the leeway to make the decisions about the management of elections. So any attempt at, having people inside who may be canvassing for one position or the other becomes a contentious issue. So that by itself is an area that I think is going to be debated. I'm sure Wambugu and the rest of the people in Naivasha, they'll want to get much more information as far as that issue is concerned from the experts that they're having there. But we have a very low trust deficit in this country. Right. We don't trust governments, we don't trust institutions, and there is a need for us to be able to build a modicum of trust, especially on institutions that we call independent, and therefore, come up with recommendations which should try to protect them more than to have a go at them. That is my initial...
Is that what you think it is, to recommend that IEBC be overhauled? Is it having a go at them?
Well, our recommendations are very clear, that we said that we have a commission in place. Remember, the High Court also pronounced itself in terms of the commissioners who are there. There were vacancies in terms of 4 positions which were occasioned by resignations of commissioners. We believe that this should have been filled up. What we see BBI proposing is that, well, the spirit within the BBI is that they would want to overhaul the entire commission. But although they have actually given a leeway in which they're saying they can have a kind of a vetting process for the 3 commissioners who are there. And then since we have the IBC amendment now, bill has become an act now, it was passed by the president just the other day, the select panel, which is going to be in place very soon, can be able to appoint the rest of the commissioners. Right. Now, at least there is a kind of a middle ground there, because there is an admission on the BBI proponent position that would want to have, if we need to vet the current commissioners, then perhaps that's the way. But our position is that we do have a commission, and we should be filling the rest of the positions in that commission. All right,
Ngunjiri, let me bring you back in, because, I mean, the issue of IEBC overhauling it is one we keep circling, the credibility of our elections. So let me just ask you this. Does BBI then, through its recommendation on the overhaul of IEBC, really solve the issue of incredulous or elections that are not credible?
First and foremost, and the first thing we need to do is have very honest conversations. And I like what the president said on Monday when he was launching or just moving on the report and making it public. The thing he said is that it's so important for us to be honest with ourselves. We keep talking about independent electoral bodies in this. We are such a political nation. I do not think it is possible to find somebody who doesn't have a political position. So here we are, we want to pretend that we are going to have 6 or 7 people who do not have a political affiliation of any kind. And we've realized that that doesn't actually work. So why not just go flat out and just admit the fact that we are going to have people who have political affiliations? I mean, I remember when we were watching the last election and some of the commissioners were making comments about one side of I remember one commissioner who was very, very pronounced, and she left the country, and she seems she had taken a very hard position against the government side. And so we have to accept that even the individuals we might want to imagine are independent are going to have political positions. So what the BBI is proposing is, let's now look at it honestly. Let's agree. We're going to have players, even the people who are sitting on the IEBC are going to be players. So let's just make it open. Let's say you're running, this is a political party. Who would you imagine you'd want to have in this commission? I remember the deputy president tried to disparage this position by giving the example of a football team and saying, what if two football teams were given the option of choosing a referee? Let me tell you something, Anne. If the two football teams could agree on one referee, and then that referee makes a decision, they would have to be bound by it because they're the ones who agreed on it and they're the participants in that competition. So that seems to be the spirit of what BBI is trying to propose. You people who are political players, agree on the process, agree on the people who are going to oversight you. Once you have agreed, then the decision they make, because once the agreement is made, the body is in place. That body is going to check within itself. Once they make a decision, then because you are part of the process of appointing or determining who sits on it, you then can't go and say it was rigged. You can't say the other side are the ones who bought off your commissioners. All of you are part of that process. So in my opinion, I think what the BBI has proposed could actually generate the kind of confidence we need in this body. But also, and this has been done before. Remember when the police commission or the police service was being overhauled, was being changed? There was a complete overhaul. We vetted people who had been there, the people who didn't fit left. So even this process of saying, look, we're going to relook at the IBC commission as it is. We're going to vet the people who are there with the new selection panel. We're going to bring in new people. We're going to bring in a new spirit of how that how that EBC works. And remember, one of the most open and transparent elections we've ever had was overseen based on the IPPG agreement in 2002. So this is not something new. We're not reinventing the wheel. This is just saying, look, it seems that for politicians to agree on an election result, they must also agree on who oversees that election. Let's go into that space and find out how it's going to work.
I think Wambugu talks about being honest, and I think it is important for us to be very honest. One of the issues which has been affecting the commission has been interference, meddling in the commission. It is not the commission committing a partisan, of course, conduct of the election and all that. It is about it's a question about the meddling and the interference that we have seen in the commission, and there is no guarantee that if we have a commission which is going to be through political parties, that the same is not going to happen. Remember, part of the mischief about Kenyan elections and a lot about what we do in this country, and one of the issues that even BBI has attempted to deal with in terms of national ethos is a big question about just bad manners out there in terms of leadership in this country. So people are talking about the IBC as having failed. The judiciary is supposed to be an independent commission. We have not gone that way of saying, now we are going to make decisions about the Supreme Court bench. It's going to be in the US they have political parties even making some of those decisions about who is going to be in the Supreme Court bench. So you see, those are issues that this country,
there's still time. They're still in Naivasha.
These are the issues that
we are still here.
These are the issues that we need to be discussing in terms of do we want our country to be able to go there? Are we going to deal with the issue of political and executive interference in the IBC by having parties make this decision? The issue about independence, and again to another point that Wambugu has just made, is that there are a number of issues around independence. There are laws. For instance, we don't have, the IBC still has to depend on Parliament for its funds. That's not independence. We still have, as we speak right now, they are hard on resources because the Parliament has not been able to approve part of their budgets. So we are discussing an issue which is supposed to be broader than that, the legal framework around the commission, their performance in office, and the guarantees in terms of their tenure in office. So these are issues that are supposed to be canvassed widely. It's not a question of who is the commissioner. in that house.
Picked him?
And
I hear you. Mule, let me
just,
cut you short. Let me cut you short, please, with your permission, because we are running out of time, and I just want to get to the point. Like you've said, it's beyond who the commissioners are. It's actually about processes and systems. And you will remember, of course, ODM's very specific concerns in terms of how elections are managed from the Okoa Kenya time, Ngunjiri, if you can still hear us, Okoa Kenya of 2015, as well as the irreducible minimums of 2017, where they drilled down to specifics about how elections should be run. And on the other end of that dispute was IEBC saying that any changes in law should only happen not more than 2 years before an election. And here we are with the clock ticking, Mule, and without recommendations that seem to go beyond who is appointed where. Will the issue of a credible election then be fixed, or are we in danger, perhaps almost to, unfortunately sound like some Tanga legislators are saying, that it seems all we are concerned with right now is not to fix elections, but rather to accommodate losers?
Technically, we do not have the time to be able to appoint a new commission. If we are going to go to a referendum within the coming 6 months or so, you're talking about a process of recruitment, a process in which you have to vet the candidates, and then you have to have those people in office in time for them to be able to understand the process issues about managing an election. I don't think that's going to be. That's one of the problems that we had with the 2017 elections, and we cited this at that time, was that the Chebukati team came very late in the day to be able to understand the process. So I think even based on Kriegler's recommendation, changing the commission right now is a recipe for chaos. If we go into that referendum with the current commission, and then we imagine that we're also going to change the commission after that, we'll be left with less than a year to the next election. So I think if the deliberations in Naivasha, my prayer would be that all these political men and women need to agree in terms of how we can be able to push the country forward. Coming up with simple, as Article 86 says, simple election processes, simple, verifiable, and countable. Right. Let's just make simple decisions about how we want to make our country. Let's ensure that we fasten the rules of play. We ensure that the bad practices of the past are attended to, and some of the proposals that BBI gives are very good. So we can be able to move into an arena where we can be able to manage our elections in a much more credible way. Sorry
to rush you. I just want to get to Ngunjiri before we have to wind up. Ngunjiri, again, I want to really talk about, because now you are partners with ODM, at least in this instance, and you remember, because you really, I remember being on television and debating with you issues of irreducible minimums and Okoa Kenya and all that stuff, which were very specific, which seemed to suggest that there needed to be some form of minimum reforms to the commission before you could have a credible electoral contest. So from where you sit, because either way you're going to go into an election, whatever happens with BBI, do we need minimum reforms? What would those reforms be? Do we need, much more, larger reforms in order to have credible polls? And can that be satisfied within BBI, or is this going to have to be a separate process that needs to begin now if it's going to be in play for the next election?
I think, and the most important thing we need to ask ourselves as Kenyans is, what do we want from our election body? Now, once we decide what we want from an election body, and I could suggest the answer to that, we want an election body that is going to deliver us an election where the results are so transparent, so clear, they cannot be disputed. And I always give an example of even when you're voting for a prefect. For example, my daughters the other day in the school were voting for a prefect, where they went, they had a secret ballot, you put in the papers, you counted, and you knew who had won. So that's actually the kind of election we want. It's only that now you're dealing with 19 million people. So it might be a bit more complicated than that, but it can also be simplified. So let's not think so much from this end moving forward. Let's think from the end moving backwards. We want a result. For example, we want a referendum that is transparent, where nobody's going to go and say it was rigged. So how do we get that? What do we need to change to get that? Or do the processes that we have in place, are they in good form enough to be able to deliver that? The second question you need to talk about is, we need to create an institution. Nothing says that the commissioners who are there are going to last until the 2022. God forbid something happens to some of them. We can't say that we are not ready to change the commissioners. What we need to do is form and capacitate the secretariat, so it doesn't matter which commissioner is put in. You get in, get orientated, watch over the process, and you're able to deliver an election. Because when all is said and done, the work of the IEBC is to deliver an election that is clear and transparent, that is simple, that all Kenyans can be able to challenge. You can ask questions and get answers.
Are those
That is
minimum or
that's all they're
comprehensive
supposed to
reforms,
do.
Ngunjiri?
Now,
Are
whatever
those
we need to do.
minimum or comprehensive
Sorry?
reforms? Are those minimum or comprehensive reforms? And is it a reform
But see,
process that needs
Anne,
to go
you're getting
outside
stuck.
of
You're
the
getting stuck
BBI?
No, you see, and you're getting stuck in what I was saying. What do we need the election body to do? Give us a referendum where we can count 19 million votes and know that 10 million said BBI passes, 9 million said BBI fails. And it's that simple. We go into an election and you want to know Ngunjiri won. That's all we need from the election body. We don't need many stories. Kenyans don't actually want to know what happened in the background. They just want to know that the results were clear. That is what we need now. To get that, we have 3 commissioners, we need 7.
Ngunjiri, ulisikia wapi?
Sorry?
Ulisikia wapi that we don't want to know what happened in the background? We want to open servers, maybe. I don't know. I'm hypothesizing.
Let me tell you. The only time we want to open servers is if we don't think the process was clear and transparent.
Fair enough.
If we were clear, if we knew it was clear and transparent, nobody would be asking about opening servers.
I don't know. I just cover the news.
So that we need to deliver a clear, transparent election. That's it.
Right. Heard you, got you. Thank you. Thank you for your time, Ngunjiri Wambugu. He is at the Great Rift Valley Lodge.
Welcome.
Naivasha will be hounding you and stalking you and finding out what you're talking about in shadowy, closed room meetings. Ngunjiri, I want to thank you for being on the program.
It's very open. It's a very open space.
Wapi. No, I'm going to say on scale. Happy Tena. All right, we're out of time. We're out of time. Thank you so much, Ngunjiri, for speaking to us. Mule Musao, good to see you again. We'll be talking as all issues around BBI shape up to a possible referendum. Who knows? Maybe even early next year. That's our time tonight. Thanks for watching Punchline. You can continue the conversation online. Use the hashtag Punchline. Bye-bye. God bless. Good night.